Powered by Riverside.
It's the Dynasty front office, and we are building you championships one trade at a time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 2026 Rookie Prospect Profile of the Week. My name is Austin. Got Jesse and Chad here tonight. How are y'all doing?
Awesome, Austin. Good, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Even better after getting told like that, so I appreciate that. This week, we'll be talking about Mike Washington Jr., running back out of Arkansas. He is a redshirt senior. He's currently 22, but he will be 23 when the season starts. Came in at 6'1", 223 pounds at the combine. He pretty much shook the place and made himself a household name. Ran a 4.33 40 with a 1.5 110 yard split, 39-inch vert, and a 10-foot 8-inch broad jump. To put that in perspective with his size and speed, he had a speed score of a 126.9, which is literally 100th percentile. So it is the best speed score ever. With a burst score of a 130.3, which is 92 percentile. So for a player that size, really good to have that kind of burst as well. Just to quickly go over some stat positives. 2025 at Arkansas, he averaged 6.4 yards per carry. Explosive run rate with 30 runs over 10 yards and 13 runs over 20 yards. He did have a career high 28 receptions in 2025 with a target share of 11%, which does put him at an 84th percentile for running backs, which is pretty solid. A couple quick negatives. Only had a college dominator rating of 23.8%, which is 55 percentile, so right at average. He was a late career breakout. He had 5 years in college, including his redshirt season. Started at Buffalo and then went to, I believe it was New Mexico before Arkansas. Before going to Arkansas in 2025, he was steady, averaging 4 to 4.5 yards per carry, which is not really what we want to see in college, but at least he did have one good year. And a weird stat I found, in the first half of games at Arkansas, he averaged 7.7 yards per carry, where in the second half, he only averaged 4.9. Could be something to do with the school, but yeah, it was kind of odd that he did it all season. So with all the stats said, Chad, any overview of his play tape that you want to start with?
Yeah, he's an interesting player, just because the measurables are all there, right? Like we saw the the shorts and t-shirt testing, and he looked fantastic doing it. But if you watch him at Arkansas, the team's not good. He didn't stand out a whole lot to me. I think he was one of the brighter spots, but that's just a really, really low bar. I think in space, he's pretty impressive, actually. Like, if you can get him to an open field, like he does a lot of the work with his athleticism, be able to break big plays. It's just in tight spaces and confined quarters that I really have an issue with his game, and he just, fails to really make the impressive wow plays where, he's doing it. He's making the plays by himself, essentially, that you would expect for somebody with his athletic profile. So it's a little bit of a confusing one for me. I think there's room for a guy like him to be impressive in the NFL. We have seen cases where, maybe, backs have come in and done all right with that athletic profile, and maybe similar production profile haven't really been, long-term options. That's in the realm of possibilities for him. But, also if he finds himself on a team with a really good offensive line that can get him in space, I think he can do a lot of things really well, especially that straight line speed. It's incredible every time you see it.
Okay, cool. Jesse, what do you like most about his game? What's your favorite thing when watching the tape?
The physical traits. Well, okay, so when watching the tape, I would say probably the versatility. I mean, outside of just the speed shows up on tape. He definitely outruns players. He tries to outrun players. That's his game. bigger guy. So like, I wish that he would be more physical. It doesn't mean he doesn't finish runs. He does finish runs, but he tries to outrun guys all the time. So his most impressive thing is also kind of something that might be it might not, if he's not in the right system, it might not be, and I might not work to his advantage in the NFL because he doesn't have like a bag of tricks. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question.
Yeah, you did. His speed is, but it also kind of sounds like my next question was, what concerns you the most? Is that kind of where that goes, or is there something, a bigger red flag for you?
It's the instincts. Yeah, that's the biggest thing with him. He just doesn't seem like a great football player to me. He's built like a great football player. He's built like Jonathan Taylor, but he's not that level of football player. It's the football instincts. I've seen it described as vision. His vision isn't awesome. I don't think it's terrible, but he's more of an athlete playing running back.
Yeah, I felt like he was a step slow in the hole. Is kind of what
I think he was very slow in the hole.
Yeah, like if the hole was there instantly, he was gone.
Yes,
but
exactly.
If
that's
the
in my
hole
notes.
didn't develop, I felt like he was a step slow, which in the NFL is you're gonna get eaten alive if you're a step slow in a hole that's coming open.
Yeah, I put long speed's impressive if you can get him a lane.
Yeah,
his inability to break tackles, make guys miss is just weird.
Yeah,
I mean it's really odd for a guy his size and with his athletic profile to be in the 25th percentile for missed tackles forced. It's kind of weird.
It shows up in the way he plays. He doesn't play like a big. Although I mean, he does finish his runs, but no, he does not break tackles with his physicality. And there's little to no wiggle to him. He's not a shifty back. He's not going to make you miss. So, like I said, that's really the only thing he can do is try to outrun you.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be room for some variance here as far as where he goes. Like if he gets a really enticing landing spot, there's going to be. I'm going to view him a lot more favorably than I will if he's going to a place where he's going to have to make stuff happen. Because I don't see that kind of player there.
Yeah, his best chance is to get into a one cut and go system.
So that kind of that was going to be towards the end, but we'll jump right to it. Where would you prefer to see him play? Is there a specific system you like, or is there a specific system you want him to stay away from? Is there something you're like, no, he can't do this?
He's a shanty back, so San Fran would be good. Minnesota would be good.
Okay. Chad, any difference, or you agree with those?
Yeah, I agree with those. I mean, there's not really a system that I would prefer him in, to be honest. I don't think he's as limited, from that perspective. I think it's literally just going to be, he's going to have space. Like they're going to have an offensive line that's able to give him space, and whatever system that is. Like if he's with San Francisco and their O-line's not making space for him, or he's not, being a movement back where Shanahan's actually designing plays for him to get open, which he probably would, right? If he did end up in a situation like that. But regardless of the situation, I think he's just going to have to be in in an area where he can put his athletic traits to the test, and we can give him a little bit more time.
That's a good point, because he's not a clean fit in that system either, because
I don't think he's good in his own system.
Because
his own would be a weakness for me.
You have to make the read and then make the cut, which I physically he can do it. It's just right, is the vision there to be able to play in that kind of system. So, I do want to highlight one thing though before we get too negative on him, and that's the versatility. So he's got good hands and he can catch the ball. You highlighted that in your opening, but they split him out wide and into the slot, and actually he makes plays out of those. He's not just out there for, eye candy or whatever. So I do like the fact that he can move around, and the receiving skill set makes him viable, as a possible
3-down guy.
Yeah, right. RB2 type.
So one of the places, I think this is a ceiling draft comp, would be replacing Kenneth Walker in Seattle. at the end of the first. Obviously after the combine, he gets a ton of hype and, he may go in the first. Well, let's say he does go there, not necessarily in the first round, but let's say Seattle. Do you like the fit? I mean, obviously the usage should be good. Do you think he can work in a system? I mean, I guess we don't technically know what the OC is going to do with Kubiak gone, but
yeah,
how excited are you if that's the situation for him? Like, can he jump Price if Price doesn't, get in an ideal situation, or is he just stuck in that, I guess we'll call it third tier of running backs?
It would, for him to jump Jadarian Price, because I don't think he's nearly the back that Jadarian Price is. So for him to jump him, Price would have to be stuck behind someone else, like Trey Benson was or something like that.
Okay, that's fair. Any specific player comps y'all like when watching the tape? Anything you thought about that, man, he reminds me of this, good or bad, preferably, good if we can help it, but.
I have one, but I honestly, since Chad said it, I can't get it out of my head. So, go ahead, Chad.
Isaac Rendo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty fitting.
It really is. And it also the upright style.
Yeah, he does run really upright. That is something we forgot to bring up.
Similar.
Yeah.
He looks like Chuba Hubbard coming out of college. He was the exact same way. He had that sprinter run.
Chuba totally remade himself for the NFL, though.
Absolutely.
I know, Austin. I know you said that you wouldn't like to see him in his own scheme, but I would kind of like to see him on the Cowboys, behind Javonte Williams as a potential successor. I don't think that he's really going to be pigeonholed by scheme as much. Just the way I see him, I just think he has to have space. I think with the way that the Cowboys like to build their offensive line around maulers who can create space up front, especially really early on, they create a decent sized push. I think they're able, and I think that's why Javonte Williams found such success with them, is because he also has a pretty slow, with his injury history and everything. He's kind of a touch slow as well off the line of scrimmage.
That's
fair.
Plus the light boxes, because their offenses, they're passing offenses. So
that's very true as well. But I just think with a team like that can get push off the ball really, really quickly, and that's a matter of priority for them. And who knows how long that'll continue with the Cowboys with the churning of their offensive line. But just a scheme like that, I think, would fit him pretty well. It's just space is such a big factor for me with him. He's so slow, with that first step.
All right. Where would you have had him in last year's class? I mean, obviously it's behind the big four of Genty, Judkins, Hampton, Henderson. Is it
behind Scatterboo?
Behind Scatterboo, behind Sampson, RJ Harvey.
Yep.
Caleb Johnson, all these guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I think I agree. I think I'd have him outside the top 10.
He's
off the top of my head.
He'd be flirting. He'd be flirting with like Tootin for me.
I think that's
where I'd have him.
Probably pretty fair. I had a high criticism of certain things with him, so that seems fair.
And Caleb Johnson as well. Caleb Johnson had he had a lot of red flags. He was a very specific kind of player. We thought the fit was really good, but I think with Caleb Johnson, it was more that he might just be like a knucklehead. I just think it's the person and not the player, maybe. I don't know. Mike McCarthy just said everybody's got a clean slate, though. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope so.
Yep.
I guess one or two more questions. We expect them to go in rookie drafts. Is it anywhere from, I guess, technically the 106 to the 206? Is that what we're expecting?
You will not find me taking this player in the first round.
Okay, so you're out in the first.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I am out in the first.
I mean, I think there's some situations where I could sell myself on a late first for him. Whether like if he goes to Seattle at pick 32 and some of the other guys that I like more don't land in a good situation at that point, might as well give it a shot. But otherwise, I don't think there's many situations.
There's other backs that I like more.
But we might not know where they go.
I'm just saying it. There's other backs that I like more, and if they get similar
Like in
capital,
the league. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Rookies.
No,
Rookies
I
always
mean
come
in the
up.
draft.
Okay.
Chad, what about you? If let's say he goes to Seattle at 32, is he a first round pick for you?
I mean, maybe, but I just don't. It's guys like this where I don't think I'm going to be able to get him. Right, he's going to go higher. From a consensus perspective, then I'm willing to take him. So I probably won't have any shares. Not to say that
That's
I completely
fair.
dislike him as a player, but I think he's going to be looked on pretty. People are going to like him a lot, especially if he goes to somewhere like Seattle.
I do think people are going to like him a lot, and this is the if I'm on the clock and this is the number one guy on the board, I'm really going to try to trade out.
Yeah, that seems fair.
I'm either going to try to get a 27 pick or just a veteran, or just a player that I like more.
I think that's the move. Like if you see that, a player like this is getting hype in the 107, 108 kind of range, like let's say he does get, pretty significant draft capital and goes back into the first, which I think is very unlikely in my opinion.
Yeah.
But let's just say it happens, and who knows, right? NFL draft can be a mystery sometimes. But it happens. He goes in the back end of the first. He's drafted somewhere around 107, 108, 109. For me, I'm probably trading back and trying to get a guy like David Montgomery, and stay in the first round if possible.
It's a good idea.
That'd be a great move.
Yeah, I like that. One other red flag that I mentioned in the opening but didn't really bring up and discuss with y'all. Only one season of real production. I mean, technically as a redshirt freshman, he had almost 800 total yards, but that was at Buffalo. And then as a redshirt junior, again, almost 800 yards at New Mexico State. So really, he almost eclipsed 1,300 yards last year at Arkansas. I mean, have we seen this enough to be actually worried? Or is it, did he finally figure something out?
He went to an offense that was just full of speed everywhere. So, yeah, it's definitely a huge concern.
Okay. I agree. Well, anything else about Mike Washington Jr.? I know we didn't praise him hard, but I think we're kind of getting to that point with rookie prospect profiles that it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows. Unfortunately, there's going to be red flags, and at least until the NFL tells us otherwise, how much those red flags matter is kind of what we have to talk about.
This is the type of player that would flirt with my do not draft list. But yeah, I think it more likely I'll try to capitalize on any kind of hype and trade out, like I said earlier. But this is what we mean by this class is rough.
Yeah. Because
we're profiling a player that we wouldn't have profiled last year.
That is true.
It's tough because I think we're sounding pretty harsh. The fact is, if he gets significant draft capital, just for the scarcity at the running back position, he's going to be pushed up boards. And I don't think that a player like this, especially with the resurgence at running back in the league, is going to be a very safe play, like as far as getting the opportunity. So barring significant draft capital, that's my worry on spending a high first. I think there's going to be other players at wide receiver, potentially at tight end, that get just as great, draft capital, if not better draft capital, that you're going to be able to get in the same range or a little bit later, actually. So that's my problem with him. It's not, saying that I really dislike the player. It's just the opportunity cost.
Yeah, and there's also, when I say there's players or there's running backs that I like more in this draft, I'll use Katron Allen for an example. I know what he is. I know that if a team drafts him somewhere in the third, fourth round, he's going to have a role in an offense, and I know what he's going to do. And if I can get him with a reasonable cost in a rookie draft, I'm going to be able to probably use him as a flex or injury fill-in. Like there's a high floor with a player like that. With Mike Washington, the floor is complete bust.
That's fair. Yeah, he feels like a mid to late second in this class, which is kind of what's scary. And I think, as we've all discussed, there's a real opportunity that he could go late first to early second in rookie drafts.
Yeah.
I think that's a real scenario.
And if I'm going to take a high swing, it's probably going to be it's going to be on like Singleton over him.
Yeah, this makes sense too. These are the kind of players I like taking later in drafts, where you take the upside swings.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, he
With
feels
my late first and
good in
early
the third.
second, I want some kind of safety floor. Whereas it's a really big variance. So,
and I'll be fine with it. I mean, I don't want to sound too bad, like too harsh, because I'd be fine with him in the late second overall.
Yeah. After roughly 206, I don't know where the tiers will end up, but after 206, sure, I would take a shot. But I don't think we're going to get that in this class unless something surprises us.
Yeah,
Just because
like
you guys are throwing
push.
it out there, I think I'd probably take him a little bit earlier than you guys, to be honest. But I'm just not at the first round kind of range where I think. I would say that's almost a lock at this point, unless he does go like in the fourth round or something.
Yeah.
I think it's almost a lock he goes somewhere in the first of rookie drafts.
Yeah, I do. And like you said, unless it's a terrible spot later than we expect, I agree with you. I think he's going to be one of those players flirting with 109 to 22, that tier of players roughly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was Mike Washington Jr. Next week's player will be tight end Eli Stowers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the front office. The lights are low, the boards are lit, and the Dynasty clock is ticking. From the heart of the startup draft to the championship throne, one crew rules the long game. Give it up for the undisputed architects of empire, Dynasty Front!